What is up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of F1 Fantasy Pole Position. It is Sunday, July 6th, and that was a banger of a British Grand Prix. Oh my goodness. Wow, so many things to kind of take away from it all, but that was madness. I was frantically trying to get on the Wi-Fi in the Zurich airport. Was traveling back from France today, and holy smokes, what a race. What an absolute banger of a race. Let me know what your biggest takeaway was from today's British Grand Prix, as I have to plug in my laptop real quick, as it has come undone with all my excitement of moving around. There we go. Perfect. Back on track now. Madness. The poll right now is: who was the British Grand Prix F1 Fantasy MVP? Nico Hülkenberg or I don't like Nico Hülkenberg or other. So let me know in the votes below. And yeah, shout out what you thought of the race. Just insane. Madness. Joshua says, hope you kept Aston Martin. I did not keep Aston Martin, especially in my T1 squad. I did in my T2 squad, which had not so good of a day. Nixie says, crazy race. Cash Conovan, crazy race, really fun to watch. Provisional points have me at 35th. Oh my goodness, that is crush. That is awesome, Cash. Great job by you. Michael is saying, or Mr. Iceman is saying, he didn't, Joshua, neither did I. Nixie, I am happy with my team after that solid race. Many of my big rank threats DNF'd as well. You guys got to look at the Lollipop Man short he just put out. Still glad Bortoletto showed his form in free practice. Let's see. I was like, stupid poll, and then realized the options. Yeah, yes, Nixie. I was having a little bit of fun there. A little bit of fun. Border going to go down 0.6 or 0.2. It looks like Mr. Bortoletto is going to go down 0.2, unfortunately. Urasoto says 0.2. Chris Stapps, I was 0.1 away from Ocon instead of Bortoletto. Holy moly, you dodged Bortoletto. Yes, I actually did. So the deadline was pretty hectic on my end. And yeah, here's the T1 squad over here on the left. We can just ignore the second and third teams. Just absolute disasters, but that's okay. Oscar Piastri, Fernando Alonso, Esteban Ocon, Nico Hülkenberg, Ollie Behrman, McLaren, and Ferrari. And I didn't use the no negative chip. I can't believe I got away with that. I'm not lying. I felt like an absolute idiot when I saw what was coming at Silver. There were all these reports, like Formula Fantasy Hub had it. Adam was at the track from Fantasy. The Fantasy Formula. Zach was there. Terry was there. They were all like, okay, it's kind of like raining, then it's not raining. And I was like, oh, okay. And that was before the race started today. Heading into the deadline yesterday, I was like, I don't think there's a big enough gap or like a big enough certainty that these guys are that it's gonna rain, that I need to play the no negative chip. And then it bucketed it down in classic British fashion. And oh my goodness. I think this is probably, I'm going to chalk it up as karma for Australia, where I scored 52 points, but I have somehow walked a tightrope here. I took a 10-point penalty to get in Ocon, Behrman, and Ferrari, and I have somehow walked out of here without a DNF, with a no negative chip still in my back pocket. And according to F1 Fantasy Tools, a 3.3 million budget rise. So I am now on 120.7 million in budget. And if I'm looking at the provisional points correctly, I am in the top 10K for the first time this season. So things are looking up for the F1 Fantasy pole position squad. But let me know what your provisional points are in the comments below. Hit me up. And we can work through this together for the next 30 to 45 minutes. Oh, mamma mia, that was crazy. So much to go. I think there's only one place to start, right? Nico Hulkenberg. Congratulations, sir. 239 career starts, and you get your first podium. You keep away from a Ferrari, and you are on the podium with Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, and no one even cares about the McLaren 1-2 because Nico Hülkenberg is on the podium for the first time in 239 races. That is absurd. Looks like he's going to score 47 points in total. And I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. A fantastic performance by Nico Hülkenberg. But if we go over to the elite data, he's in 69.2% of the global top 500, 66.8% of the patron top 500. So fantastic performance. It just may not get us as many gains as we were hoping. Just, oh my goodness, what a performance from Nico Hülkenberg. I feel like ending this poll early, but he's at 85%. Yeah, he's 100% of the votes. No one is voting other, and no one is saying they don't like Nico Hülkenberg. It's fantastic. We go over here a little bit. We can look at the chip data. No negative was played by 3 managers in the global top 500 and about 6 managers in the patron top 500. So people were a little bit, there wasn't like a very obvious race. Like right now, 52.2% of the global top 500 have played their no negative chip. 30.6% of them played it in Miami. 7.8% played it in Monaco. 6% played it in Australia. So some of those very smarty pants that played it in the first race of the season are still hanging on into the global top 500. Let's see what the chat is saying here. Udasoda, I trusted you, Bordello, and how did you repay me with karaoke carnival? No, but with betrayal. Thank God for the no negative chip, says Kevin Hill. Had Hadjar lost in Bordello on my May team, may as well give up at this point. No, Alex, you will not be giving up, sir. As someone that went through it in Australia, you will not be giving up. You will be sticking around. I'm not letting you give that back. Colin says, Hadjar stung me bad. Yeah, that was rough. Once again, man, the rookies here, Antonelli, Hadjar, Colapinto, Bortoletto, Lawson, if you want to, and Behrman is the only rookie that survives yet again, just like Australia. That is pretty wild. Oh no, Antonelli survived in Australia, but yeah, Hadjar, Bortoletto, Lawson, all kind of suffered in Australia, if I remember correctly, but the rookies got caught out big time once again. Michael said, I saw a team with 4 DNFs. Antonio Cunha says, swap Piastri for Leclerc. Could I have done worse? I guess you could have swapped him for Antonelli, but ouch, Antonio. I'm not going to lie. That one is going to sting. Chris Cullen says, I missed the start, so I'm watching behind. But looking forward to this. Chris Cullen says, also, that's a harsh penalty. Yeah. I don't know. Do we have any rumors coming around that Mr. Oscar Piastri is going to or can Piastri's side appeal that penalty? I don't really know how that works after the race, but it seemed a little bit harsh. I was kind of in and out of the commentary. I was watching the race a lot, but being in the airport and stuff was kind of loud. And yeah, it's just like, were they saying anything in the broadcast? Let me know in the chat if you guys can. Christoph saying, one of my friends and his FP team in our league got 4 DNFs. Oof, the rookies are useless in the wet, says Nixie. Same team. I've got the same professional points as I've got the same team. Seth says, got the same team, but I was just following Rider Simulation for double Haas. Yeah, the double Haas came through like a lot. I said in my tweet before the deadline, or my deadline or lineup lock tweet, I was like, I haven't had double Haas since Monaco. And I was trying to put it out into the universe to kind of prevent that from happening again, the disaster that happened in Monaco. Sorry, should have included a trigger warning for anyone that also had double Haas last season at Monaco. Nicholas is in the chat. What is up, Nicholas? Piastri times 2, Hulk, Alonso, Ocon, Behrman, McLaren, Ferrari from 2 free transfers. So I have 3 for the sprint in Spa. Shame Piastri bolted the win with safety car shenanigans, but 278 points. I'm so back after last week's Science disaster. Let's go, Nicholas. Yes, that's what I want to hear. Kevin is in the chat. 229. Piastri, Hulkenberg, Behrman, Ocon, Bortoletto, McLaren, Kick Sauber, no negative chip. Not bad, not bad. Don't know if the Alex that you said shouldn't give up is a sir. Sorry. Don't know if the Alex that you said shouldn't give up is a sir. Sorry, I'm not totally understanding that. Or maybe that's just over my head. The same driver who did well in the wet, done well again in the midfield teams. Oh, Alex victim as a. Oh, yes. You said, Alex Ray is a victim of the quadruple DNF. Remember, never give up, mate. I know my season was cooked, but still playing for fun. Keep going. Yes. Impossible to appeal after you served office. Oh, of course, Nixie. Sorry about that. McLaren would never do that to Lando. Let's see here. Number one in the world had 3 DNFs. Now they are 8th. Ouch. Nickname me. Thank you for the super chat, sir. Did we ever see such a drive like the one from Hulkenberg? Over 1 second in quality behind him, basically last to podium, like Senna and Toleman. Wow. That's a great shout, actually. But yeah, this Hulkenberg is just on absolute fire. Like, surely now he has to be the highest scoring driver over these last 3 races, right? Like, or let's see here. Select all. Let's get rid of here. So since Spain, since the Flexi Wing, Nico Hülkenberg was the 4th highest scoring driver in F1 Fantasy. He's going to tack on another 47 points here. So he's going to go over Russell and Leclerc. Maybe not Piastri. I think Piastri knocked in another 39 points today. But Hulkenberg is going to be the 2nd highest scoring driver over the 4 races since the Flexi Wing has come in. Absolutely unreal. And let's go over to my favorite website after the race, before all the points have been officially calculated. And let's go see what Nico Hülkenberg is going to need for a great price rise in Belgium. Let's just type in a handy dandy 47. He's going to need negative 36 points in Spa for a great price rise. I don't like Nico Hülkenberg needs to be in 100% of teams. He can like a double DNF, but like 4 points out of nowhere, he's gonna be totally fine. That's unreal. So say he scores a modest 10 points in Belgium. That's another negative 24 in Hungary. Nico Hülkenberg is a smash into everyone's F1 fantasy teams. It has to be done. If you don't have him, even if gives you 10 million in budget in the bank, like you just have that much budget, like Hulkenberg is just, it's too easy right now. But once again, thank you, Nickname Mai, for the super chat. Always appreciated there. Joshua Jensen says, I'm okay with DNF of Bortoleto. I'll survive Leclerc. Didn't do well. I thought penalty was harsh to Piastri. If there was any drive, then Max behind him, no penalty would have been given. Yeah, fair enough. Let's see here. Thank you once again to Pat F1 for this fantastic website. I had triple Haas for Monaco. No, I had triple Haas. Yeah, we're still talking about that, huh? Not bad result with the exception of Bortoleto. Yeah, I mean, the DNFs will hurt like the scores, but let's see. Gabby Bortoleto was in 55%. He's in 70% of the global top 500. So if you have him, you don't have to feel that bad about it. It's really not going to be that bad. 215, mainly negative because of Lawson. Yeah, the Lawson one hurts. So going into today's race, I had Alonso, Piastri, Hulkenberg, Behrman, and Ocon. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I had 5 of the 8 most picked drivers in F1 Fantasy. And the 3 drivers I did not have, Bortoleto, Lawson, Hadjar, all DNF'd. So that is about as tight of a tightrope that you can walk in F1 Fantasy and still come out the other side. So I'm just going to take it and run. I'm not even going to say that like it was a master stroke of decision making. It was like DNF suck. So prayers out, or T's and P's out to all of those who had 1, 2, or even 3 of those assets in F1 Fantasy. Just a little bit of a quick break here, 15 minutes in, and just want to say that we are well on our way to 3,500 by summer break. But if you're watching this video right now, if you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, bada bing, bada boom, one goes up right as I'm saying that. That's like some synergy going on in the universe right now. But I am pushing for 3,500 subscribers by the summer break. Got 2 races to go, guys. So help me out. Tell your friends, tell your uncles, your aunts, whatever you want, that there's some crazy guy that talks about F1 Fantasy on Sunday nights after every race to kind of go over the race review. But yeah, we're over 3,350 now. We're heading to 3,400, 3,500 by summer break is the goal. And there will be plenty of content coming out over the next 5-ish weeks while we wind down until the summer break. And there'll be some summer break content as well. So make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss out. But 15 minutes in, Nico Hülkenberg has 100% of the votes. So I'm going to end it right there. 74 votes, and they are all saying that Nico Hülkenberg is the F1 Fantasy MVP. Who is the British Grand Prix F1 Fantasy LVP? Now, this is kind of interesting. We could go several routes with this. Let me know in the chat what you guys are thinking. I'm going to say Leclerc, Lawson, Bortoleto, and who else? Leclerc, Lawson, Bortoleto, if I can spell. And are we going to say... We're going to say Colapinto, 12.4%. I'm going to put Colapinto in there. So let me know in the chat. And what I mean, those will be the 4 that I go with, but put your vote in there now. I would greatly appreciate it. Zuby is in the chat. With T1, I don't think we need any transfers to Spa. All set for budget increase. Leclerc's free practice translate to a complete bottle job. We might transfer in Stroll for Spa. Let's go check out Lancey Stroll, shall we? Where's he at? Live scoring. 24 points for Lance Stroll. I was saying a lot in the build-up to the British Grand Prix that I've never been more nervous with a constructor of my squad because Lance Stroll was involved with Aston Martin last week in Austria. Every time they cut to him. But this is just going to build on the Lance Stroll in the rain narrative once again. So 24 points in Britain. -2 in Belgium. However, it is a sprint weekend, so there's 2 times that Lance Stroll can get a DNF out of nowhere and break our F1 fantasy hearts. Craig Black is saying 82 points from Hulk today. I don't think so. 47, but unless you had the autopilot chip, and then you got him as a captain or a DRS boost. So great job by you, Craig. I think it's actually going to be a little bit more than that for you, sir. So great job by you. Hulk's pace is because of Sauber's upgrades, not the flexi wings, in my opinion. Fair enough. But it's just, I mean, the updates combined with some other teams struggling with the flexi wings. Is that a possibility there, Nicholas? Let me know what you think in the chat. Josteen, you got a little expletive on the screen there, sir. So I'm not going to put that up there, but Bortoleto would have had such a massive weekend if he got to the finish. I agree. He was on fire as well. At this point, Hulk could DNF 3 times in a row and he will still gain 0.6 million. I'll take my 215 points and run, says Chris D. Could have been a lot worse. It sure could have been. Brandon says, happy for Hulkenberg. Imagine he continues to get podiums. Glad driver of the day was actually rightfully deserved. Yeah, what is that? Back-to-back Sauber driver of the days, and they were both well-deserved. No bots kind of messing everything up for us in F1 Fantasy. So very happy for them. The pit stops today were all over the place, right? Like, I'm looking over here. Let me take your message off the screen here, Brandon. But yeah, Red Bulls really saved their day with 15 points. I was pretty disappointed to see Ferrari with 39 points. Especially with Aston Martin with 36 after I transfer them out, which is a little frustrating. But if I had gone with Aston Martin, I was looking at bringing in like Charles Leclerc or George Russell, and that would have been not so good. So, this has probably been the best weekend for me in F1 Fantasy, I would say. Just like no DNFs, budget gain, all that stuff. It has all come together quite swimmingly. Peter Kavanaugh says, I had the same team as you, but didn't have a -10. Our final scores out? I don't think they are yet, Lannister. Peter, great job by you, especially without the hit. So quite jealous about that. The scores should be out. However, the British Grand Prix was like an hour later than it usually is in F1. I feel like they're usually at like 3 p.m. Germany time, and today was at 4 p.m. So, and this is right around the time where they usually come out. So I guess we'll just keep checking over the next part of this episode and see where we're at. Gua says 253 with 2.5 price rise and a roll transfer. Happy with that. Nice call on Ocon and low overtake circuits, by the way. Great catch. I mean, I guess so. Oh, yeah, 5 points. Okay, yeah. But he did have 4 overtakes, actually. But if you guys don't know what Gua is talking about, let me go over here to, let's see here. Do I still have the tweet? I mean, I should have it somewhere. Had an eventful weekend in Provence, France. Would highly recommend to anyone if they want to go see the lavender fields. Those are quite pretty. July 1st, yesterday I posted a strange and funny pattern at Silverstone for Esteban Ocon. I took a closer look at his splits on top 12 overtake tracks versus bottom 12 overtake tracks on the F1 Fantasy calendar. It raised my eyebrows for one of the more popular budget options ahead of Silverstone at bottom 12 overtake track. And here we are, points 2.8, overtake 1.8, quali, race average. And yeah, it kind of worked out that way again for Ocon here. 5 points, 4 overtakes, 1 position gained. So at high overtake tracks, Haas are fire. And Ollie Behrman apparently was a man possessed, especially in the pit lane. He was just flying all over this place. But yeah, quite wild that the Haas boys both came through. Greatly appreciate that. Chris C, I decided to go bold, he says, as this. Yep, there we go. I decided to go bold and use limitless. Overall, it was not horrible, but Ferrari really screwed me. But looking at the positive, at least I avoided picking up Bortoleto. Yep. Gua says Leclerc for sure for LVP. Nixie says V-Carb. Nicholas says Leclerc, Antonelli, Bortoleto, Lawson. Michael says Yuki. Somebody in the top 500 had Hulk ×2. What a play. Did they have the Aston? They must have had the autopilot chip. There's no, like, what? Bortoleto is forever cursed. His name is written wrong in 95% of the cases. Oh no, did I get his name wrong? Oh, sorry. I was really trying. I was rushing a little bit. I literally landed at the Stuttgart airport like a minute or an hour and 20 minutes ago. So I've been kind of rushing. Liking the poll. Dang it, Bortoleto. Yeah, sorry, Gabby Boards. That is awful. Ellen Slayer, apart from the practice debrief on the F1 official, is there anywhere else I can check the car's pace? I'm in a league with my colleagues from work and I really need to beat them. There's a lot of good Twitter accounts that put out like the telemetry data. It's really hit and miss. Like some of them, I'm like, that looks handy. And then some of them, like, does that help us at all? That is a little bit of a weak part in my F1 analysis, LN Slayer. So I am trying to improve on it and help out a little bit more with that stuff. But maybe the chat can help you out. Maybe they can give me and you, LN Slayer, some great accounts to follow on X or YouTube and stuff like that we can both learn a little bit. Casper says, hey, UN, fantastic result for you. I had Norris, which looked great until Piastri took away the fastest lap. A negative 40-point swing from Norris teams to Piastri teams with that fastest lap. Oh my goodness, that is absolutely brutal. So if I'm being honest, I was watching the race on probably about a 20-minute delay in the Zurich airport. And Switzerland doesn't... My O2 plan with the German network, you don't get like the roaming data in Switzerland because it's not part of the Schengen or it's not part of the EU, so it costs you more money. So I had to log into the Wi-Fi, and I was watching the race, and there was like 5 laps to go, and Hulkenberg had like a 7-second lead. Everyone had kind of moved back onto the slicks or whatever, and it was like, all right, time to board. And we got on one of those buses. If you've ever traveled in Europe, you know what I'm talking about. You don't have a lot of the walkways onto the planes in Europe. You've got all of these buses that you take out into like the middle of a field where your plane is, and then you kind of come back to the airport, and then you take off from there. And the Wi-Fi was struggling. So I just zoomed to the end to kind of see the last lap and see who was going to make it. And it was like, yeah, Norris, Piastri, Hulkenberg. I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. So I didn't actually get to watch the last 5 laps. I can't wait until the race in 30 or whatever comes out. And I'm going to watch that later tonight. But yeah, like Casper, that is absolutely brutal. Chris is in the chat. Chris Cullen, 10 minutes until deadline. I did Russell, Hadjar, and kick to Ocon, Ollie, and Ferrari. Feels good. Great job by you, Chris. That is great. Bordeaux, man, had a stinker. What do you think the medal will be for Spa? That's a great question. Now that I think there's quite a few teams, at least in like F1 Fantasy X world, that I think some people were kind of pushing to get to the um, triple Sauber, triple McLaren world, but I'm not sure if people are going to be doing that now. So let's see, Bortoleto with a -20. Let's see what he's going to be looking like in Spa. So a -20 for Bortoleto. So he's going to need 13 points there. So the triple Sauber, triple McLaren build, where people were maybe thinking about going with the extra DRS boost to do Piastri and Norris with a 3x, 2x kind of thing, that might be in the mud. But so what I'm probably gonna do this week is I'll have the race review tonight, like right now, and wait like a couple of days to do some team selection just to like let this breathe on its own because we do have a little bit of a bigger break between races this time. So team selection will probably be out like Tuesday or Wednesday. I'll kind of collect my thoughts, see what's going on. We'll get the finalized results here. And then yeah, we'll kind of figure out what the meta is from there. But I mean, it'll still be Piastri, it'll still be McLaren. It'll kind of depend as we get closer to Spa what the weather is like, because Mercedes still looked okay. I know they didn't really have a great day, but at times, like Russell was still looking okay. It was a little bit wetter than I think anyone was expecting. Like Mercedes can do well in the colder conditions, but rain is rain. Like you're not going to get kind of all that you need from your car that way. But Spa is always changeable conditions as well. We never really know what to expect for the Belgian Grand Prix, which I will be at. So if anyone else is going to be there, I will be there on the Saturday. Come hit me up. I'll be on X. I'm not entirely sure where I'm going to be right now. I got a GA pass, so I'll be there all day Saturday to watch the sprint and qualifying. So if anyone is in Spa and wants to meet up and chit chat F1 Fantasy for a little bit, let me know. Parzival says Colapinto and Bortoleto in 2 of my teams. Ouch, Parzival. Very sorry. Right now, we are 3 minutes left in this poll. Who is the British Grand Prix F1 Fantasy LVP? We've got Leclerc, Lawson, Bortoleto, Colapinto. Leclerc is leading the pack with 38% of the votes. There's 120 of you guys watching, so thank you for tuning in on a Sunday night here, and only 35 likes. So you know what I'm going to ask? Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you have not done so yet. That greatly helps me out, get some people watching this over the next few days before team selection videos come out for the Belgian Grand Prix. Nicholas is in the chat again. Thank you, Nicholas, for always interacting in the chat. Appreciate that. Mercedes might have actually taken the cake for LVP. Putting Russell in hards when the track is damp is mental, because hard being tougher is warm-up. Then do it to Kimi as well, and then again at the end equals P10. That is actually a great point. I didn't think about that part. Mishiru, sorry about that. I had Piastri, Hulk, and Hamilton. Happy with that. Not bad at all. Parzival, 220 final score and 1.5 rise. What drivers would most likely gain in budget for Spa, of course, other than Hulk? Probably Fernando Alonso is still on for a pretty good rise as well, I would think. 5 points here. What's he at? So he needs 6 in Spa. So that's not bad. Who else have we got here? Actually, you know what's a great tool for this? The budget builder. Let's see. Albon, no. You see, what you want to see is drivers who are about to have a DNF fall off. So, I mean, Norris is an A-tier asset. Lawson just DNF'd again. Hadjar's got DNF on there. Gasly. Let's go check out Gasly. What did Gasly end up scoring? Kind of like anonymous race for someone that finished quite high up in the ranks, 15 points. So Gasly has survived, what, a couple of weeks now as the ultimate F1 fantasy troll. So 15 points in Great Britain will now mean he needs 7 in Spa. So Pierre Gasly might be back on the board, but am I ever going to trust him? I'm not entirely sure I can. Colin says, your team 1 has smashed it. Nice work. Thank you, Colin. Thank you. I'm not going to lie. It feels very good. Like this is, yeah, that was very unexpected. I was very nervous. I was in like a little restaurant watching the race, and this lady, very nice hospitality lady, came along and was like, oh, are you done with your food? And I was like, yeah. I had my headphones in. I was watching the race. It's just like, oh, oh, who's winning? Who's winning? And I was like, oh, Piastri. She's like, oh, I like Piastri. And what about Leclerc? And I was like, ooh. And she was like, oh no. Yeah, so even Ferrari pain, even in the Zurich airport this afternoon. Cash Confidence says, somebody 3x Piastri and 2x Hulk. What a play. Oh my goodness. What are... Man, people have some minerals out there in the F1 fantasy community. I wish I had them, but I do not. Let me just put out a little bit of a reminder here on the old X account saying that we are live so we can get some more people in the chat. We are live chatting F1 fantasy after the British Grand Prix. Whew, I am still, I'm hot again. It's actually a little bit cooler here in Germany right now. So that is good. Let's see. Finalized results. Still nothing. Still waiting to see what's going on. Pranav is in the chat. What is up, Pranav? Limitless for Spa? Could be well on. I do like Rain Fantasy had a great shout on his team selection or his preview episode last week. Talked about the Hungaroring, which is pretty much viewed as Monaco without walls. So you might want to set it up there, but I mean, right now there's going to be quite a few, like, I mean, admittedly, this T1 squad right here would be very well set up for Limitless and Spa. You're going to score a lot of points, but the delta over the field, we've got 3 weeks to analyze this. So maybe I'll do an updated chip strategy episode during one of these weeks. Bailey is in the chat saying hi, Ewan. What is up, Bailey? Craig says, got it for the rookies. Difficult conditions and the teams didn't help them out with tire strategy. Yeah, I don't think so either. Parzival says, see you on Saturday. You got it, sir. Cash Confident. Actually, a lot of people did the 3X and 2X haul. I'm surprised how many people did that. Will Merck even rise Max in Spa? Ooh, great question, Nixie. Let's go double check it. So right now they're projected for 11 points. Mercedes... Well, yeah. Oh, because that 87 is going to drop. They need 62 points in Belgium. Never mind. Mercedes, they are out. I'm going to end this poll. So Leclerc wins 38%. And yeah, let's see. What else? Let me see, guys. Let's get an early kind of where would you use LL? Spa. Hungaro. Oh god. I'm terrified. Okay, I'm just gonna put Hungary. Because now I'm terrified that I'm spelling things wrong. Or Belgium. I'm pretty sure I spelled both those right. Where would I use Limitless? Let me know where you use Limitless. And in the next 15 minutes, if you guys can let me know what you would like the last poll to be of the episode, that would be great. And I will pick one and we will vote on that for the final 15 minutes. FPL Daxter's in the chat. What is up? So annoying with Bortoletto. So close to picking no negative chip, but never did it. Gee Whiz saying update the points already. F1. Yes, I would love to do that as well. Gee Whiz, thank you for being in the chat though. Nixie, Behrman would be good, I think, in Spa. Yeah, surely Behrman's going to be fine for a rise. What's he projected at? Let's see here, 13 points for right now. Let's add that into the UK one. 13 points. Needs to just not be negative in Spa for another 0.6 rise. Kevin says, banger weekend, 268 points. Went with your team from last week and only swapped Colapinto with Behrman, complemented by Norris, Piastri, Alonso, Hulkenberg, McLaren, Aston. Whew, great job by you, Kevin. Well done, sir. Udbov says, Bordeaux out, Stroll in. That should work out. You might need a little bit of budget to move up from Bortoletto to Stroll, because what? Bortoletto is going to be 4.9, and Stroll is going to be 8.5. So yeah, you need like 3.6 million in budget. Is that right? I think that's right. Let's see here. MD is in the chat. What is up? I haven't seen you yet this evening. Bortoletto DNF ruined those with kit constructor. They would have been the second best constructor for sure. Leclerc and Russell pitting on lap one was the wrong idea, but they tried something different. Agreed. Keshlin says, same team as you, but didn't take a negative 10. Feels so good to get max budget rises. I know. What is this good fantasy luck that we are having here? Ouch. I went down the food tube. MD, excellent team one, got 253 points. My two best teams are in the top 2.3K overall. Ferrari did fine despite Leclerc's strategy. Yep. Yeah, they did an okay job. They got the job done. AR says 191 with Piastri, Russell, McLaren, Sauber. Had to take a negative 20 for Hadjar, unfortunately, but hopefully they will have the budget to switch to triple McLaren for Spa. Yeah, that's a great point. Gua says, naive question. Can you give a quick F1F insights walkthrough on how to read it? Yes. You know what I'm going to do, Guha, because this is a great question, but I do answer it almost every week on these race reviews. So I will build a little 5-minute explainer as long as Pat is okay with that. I'll double check with Pat after this. Okay, so pretty much what you got here on the screen is you got Behrman, right? So he's got 7 points in Canada, 14 points in Austria. Pat updates those for us themselves, and he will update it with the Great Britain points, right? So right now, Behrman is at, what he scored? It was 13 points, right? 13 points. So you go to this Great Britain column here, 13 points, boom. So then you see all these highlighted here. Let me see if I can zoom this in a little bit. Help us out here. So Great Britain's 13. So he's got a great price rise. All these highlighted mean that he's great price rise. So this next row below with the Belgian flag here has his great price rise requirement at 0, good price rise -6, poor at -13, and terrible at -14. So then if you wanted to guess what he scores in Belgium, right? So if he scores 0 in Belgium, he needs 17 in Hungary. That's what this row below is for another great price rise. But if I put in Belgium here, let's say he scores 10 points over the sprint weekend, he needs 7 points in Hungary for a great price rise. -1 for a good price rise, -8 for a 9. And I've actually never gone this far out. So 10, yeah, so he would get that. So that's as far as it goes out. But it's more of a projection tool. So just you can add in your own numbers and kind of figure it out as you go along. But that's a good content idea there, Gua. Maybe I'll build a 5-minute video of how to kind of work your way through this. Where are we at? With 10 minutes to go in this poll, where would you use limitless? Belgium is trailing Hungary, 42% to 58%. Let's see. MD, limitless at Sprint Spa works pretty well with the limited passing we saw for lap 1 last year. Yeah, I agree. Let's see. Max feels better to own for Spa than Hungary, making limitless perhaps a little bit better. Red Bull doesn't seem great in slow corners, unlike McLaren and Ferrari. Yes, especially with the setup they had today. We'll see what they continue to do. What do we think about Colapinto? You've put him in the LVP poll, but we saw Hulk go from 19th to 3rd. How much can we blame him for the non-start? I guess it's hard to blame him for the non-start, but we can blame him for qualifying that low and even like having a pit lane start to begin with. That's kind of tough over Soto. That's a good point, but these things happen, and he seems to keep putting himself in these like poor situations where he can't really thrive, and the pressure is building. There's 3 weeks between the UK and the Belgian Grand Prix, and I don't know. The only thing is, I think this was mentioned on the P1 podcast with Matt and Tommy earlier this week, but if Alpine did take on Valtteri Bottas, right? I think you're only allowed to have 4 drivers, 4 different drivers across the season. So say like Pierre Gasly or Bottas gets sick over the final 12 races of the season, if they did make a switch, let's just say. Do they have to bring Colapinto back in? Do they have to bring Jack Doohan back in? Like, it's a little bit awkward. But I think at this point with Alpine, maybe that's the poll. Maybe that's the final poll. But I think I would make the switch. I think you need to get a veteran in there. Alpine's going to take on a Mercedes power unit next year, or Mercedes engine, and they just need someone in the car to tell them what is wrong with the car, what is right with the car, where the direction that they need to go. And I don't think Colapinto or Doohan have or had enough experience to tell this team how to fix what is going wrong. Pierre Gasly keeps getting it done, just like one of the better midfield drivers on the grid. So great job by him. But I think would go Bottas for the final half of the season if he can kind of negotiate that with possibly the Cadillac seat in his back pocket. He could be like, I'm going to go Alpine for half a season, and then I'll come join you guys, get him back on the grid. Maybe Cadillac want him back in an F1 seat, getting more reps as they bring him in as another veteran driver alongside Checo Perez, which is sounding like it's getting closer and closer to being done. Parsifal said, I already used it in Monaco, but Spa has to be it for Limitless. What about Stroll, says Marius Peterson. I think we did Stroll a little bit already, but he is definitely going to be worth a shout. He scored 24 points, projected 24 points here. Let me take Hungary and Belgium out. So 24 points at the British Grand Prix. He's going to need -2 in Belgium. But Lance Stroll always makes me a little bit nervous. That means there's 2 chances for him to DNF that weekend in Spa. Matthew McGinty, once again, shafted myself by not playing my no negative chip. Sounds like we were just a little bit on opposite sides of the coin there. Sir, sorry about that, Matthew. I can't believe that I walked that tightrope and came out the other side without a DNF. What do you think about the 10-second time penalty? I haven't seen like all the telemetry data, but from what I was seeing, it seemed harsh. But I don't know. I'll leave it to smarter F1 rules analysis to do that. When to use Limitless chip for pole. Thank you, Joshua. Let's get this to 70 likes, please, says MD. Appreciate that, MD. We're at 62 likes, so only 8 away. Lawson might be a good asset at 4.5. You could grab them now and his DNF won't fall off for 2 races. Then he rises twice before you finally have to think about moving him out. That's not a bad shout at all, Cash. Nixie, I would look in Spa if the sprint is well set up for a Limitless. Example, top guys out in SQ1. And if I'm not more willing to use it in Hungary, if it's well set up, low overtake track. Yes, when I trade for Stroll next race, he will 100% DNF. Be aware, says Max Alive. Yes, that's how I'm thinking as well. Craig says, yeah, the 82 for Hulk was from my autopilot. Thought George may take it from Piastri, but Hulk was a nice surprise. Yes, that was epic. Gua says, oh, okay, that's stellar. Thanks to you and thanks to Pat. Always thanks to Pat with his wonderful F1 Fantasy website. Finalized? No. Man, I was kind of really hoping to be on here when it's finalized. JB is in the chat. What is up? Hello. Pranav, would you consider McLaren, Piastri plus Merck, Antonelli, Russell after the DNFs go away, or need to wait for them to perform first? Antonelli is a little bit of a stay away right now. This guy is having a rough second quarter of the season. Like, what is it? Since Imola? So Miami, he got the pole, right? The pole position in the sprint. And since that, DNF, dead last, DNF, podium, DNF, and now another DNF. That is a rough learning curve for Antonelli. It looks like he was doing better when he stayed in school, because right now it has been quite rough for the Italian driver. The Big Apo says, if you avoid all DNFs, you go Limitless or 3X in Belgium if you have triple McLaren. That's not a bad shout at all. Yuki plus Ocon high five meme with Lawson DNF above the hands is a lovely meme I just saw. Yes. I did hear them kind of saying that like it was Ocon's fault, but like I was saying, I couldn't really hear the commentary all that well, and I was kind of like frantically walking through the airport a little bit. But it didn't really seem like Ocon could do anything to avoid that. He had Yuki on his left, and it kind of, to me, it looked like Lawson kind of cut in front of him, but I don't know. Alpine should look at Behrman the most to replace Colapinto. Well, I think Behrman's going to be Haas because, I mean, he's kind of the successor in waiting for Hamilton in 2027. Oz says, did you use no negative? I did not use no negative. I walked the tightrope and survived somehow. Bottas is good too, someone consistent. Even Hulkenberg is good if Audi wanted someone else. But I mean, Audi, German car, German driver who just got his first podium. Like, come on. They're not going to get rid of Hulkenberg, are they? Mr. Iceman says, excited for FPL. They should start teasing prices tomorrow or sometime next week. I am a little bit excited, but yeah, last season did not go well in FPL. I had a top 5K finish in the 23-24 season, and I got a little bit too big for my boots last year, took some swings, and it all went terribly wrong. JB says, scored 245 points this week, 2.5 rise up to 59th Global League. Yes, keep going strong. Jay, you are crushing it, sir. Well, great job by you. All right, final 15 minutes. It looks like Hungary. Oh, Belgium has fought back. So 53% say Hungary, 47% say Belgium for where you would lose Limitless. We Muggo, Stroll on paper is a good asset for Spa, but he's Lance Stroll. You just can't predict when he has a great race or a stinker. Exactly. Oh, it was so nerve-wracking having him in Austria. And then today I was like, where was this last week? Ugh. Let's see. Lots of chats. Love it, guys. Thank you for being here on a Sunday evening. Oz, is Bortoletto still good? He might have a tough time in Austria or in Belgium here. We can go check it out. Just double check once more on Pat F1's awesome tool. -20 for him. So yeah, needs 13 points in Belgium. Sorry, I looked at that wrong. Needs 13 points in Belgium for a great price rise and 9 points for a good price rise. So Bortoletto may have been in and out. MD says, yeah, 10 seconds is too harsh. Anvit is in the chat. What is up, Anvit? Hi, I had Piastri, Hulkenberg, Bortoletto, Colapinto, Alonso, McLaren, Ferrari. What is the projected budget? Let's see, 0.3, 0.6. So that's 9, 0.7, 0.1, 0.7. So probably about 1.3 budget gain there, Anvit. How is the app so slow to get the final points and budget rises in? Because they're just looking at all the telemetry for like the official overtakes and all that stuff. It always takes a little bit of time. 10 seconds for Max intentionally punting George. 10 seconds for Oscar today. Make it make sense, says James. Yeah. Props to anyone who put 8 teams for how many different teams finish in top 10. What a crazy race. Oh, I think I may have done that. Does the F1 predict? This is what I had for my F1 predictions. This didn't go well, did it? Oof, that aged very poorly. That went awfully. That went awful. I guess I hit that. Hit that. Didn't hit that. Hit that. Got robbed of that. Hit that. Boom. Boom, MD. How do you like them apples? 8 points. Wow. Okay, there we go. That's not bad. Don't. Yeah, pretty lucky there. I'm not gonna lie. So let's see here. Back to the view teams here. Kimi and Albon have had bad results for a while now. When could we be going to the double A lineup? What budget do we need? So heading into this week, Nixie, we needed. Please stop saying British. Why? That's how you say it. British. You want me to say British? British? Nah. If you're from Britain, you say British. So what budget do we need? Heading into this week, Nixie, we needed 120.6 million to go with Piastri, McLaren, Mercedes, and George Russell. Wow, it is neck and neck. It's literally 50-50. I feel like I have to keep this poll open for the rest of the episode. Because I can't end a poll at a 50-50 vote. You got 2 minutes left. There's 130 of you guys watching right now. There's only 66 votes. We need the votes, guys. We need a finalized answer here. Let's see here. Let's see. What do we got? Ocon was in the middle of a Red Bull second driver curse sandwich. It was goes lovely with a glass of water. Haha. I think is that the closer we approach the 2A drivers, 2-tier A constructors limitless becomes less valuable compared with, let's say, Miami, where all had most 3-tier A picks. Nice work, Hulk. I put 7. I blame Leclerc's strategy. That's true. Oz says, I scored 253 points in this race. Piastri, Hulkenberg, McLaren, Ferrari, and Bortoletto DNF. Nice. Wow, that is great. Great job by you, Oz. All right. We have got, I wouldn't say a consensus, but 51-49 Hungary. I'm ending the poll because there's 10 minutes left. So I want one final poll. Who? Final poll. What should the final poll be? Let's see, which team should Bottas drive for? And I understand that he can't drive for them this season, but say this is for 2026. Oh, I'll put it for in 2026. Alpine or Cadillac. Let's see what we got. Those polar worlds are so close. Yeah, they sure are. Max is Mercedes Benz. I can feel it, says Mac Attack. What is up, Mac Attack? Will Oscar strike back at Spa? Yeah, so Lando is now 8 points behind Oscar Piastri. And so if Lando wins next week or the Belgian Grand Prix, he'll be what? 1 point behind Piastri? Is that right? Is that how that goes? Let's see. Alpine has Mercedes engine next season. Makes more sense, and Cadillac won't be competitive straight away. True, but do you really want to go into a situation like Alpine? Like, if this is Bottas's last chance, right, at a drive on the F1 grid, does he want to go to Alpine where he may get axed after 6 races? Or is he going to want to go to Cadillac where he might get like 2 years? So I don't know. Mr. Iceman says, isn't Alpine going to get sold? I think those are the rumors, but I haven't really heard anything concrete, and I'm not entirely sure who would buy them at this point. Macatech says, Piastri sounds increasingly annoyed each weekend. Yeah, I mean, this weekend especially, that is really, really rough. Okay, so since we're in the final 10 minutes of the episode here, let's just go through some live scoring, and we'll go down the top, like, 10 here. So Hulkenberg, 47, Piastri, 39, Norris, 37, Stroll, 24, Hamilton, 23, Verstappen still getting 21 points despite quite a miserable day from him. Fought back and got some overtakes, lost some positions. Gasly, Behrman, Russell, Albon, Alonso and Ocon got the job done, but it could have been better. Alonso kind of just calling out Aston Martin for having bad strategy with him as per usual. But like Hulkenberg, 47, Piastri keeps getting it done. 39 points, fastest lap. I do feel for Lando Norris managers. He's won the last 2 races, but you've been outscored by Oscar Piastri in F1 Fantasy. That is not super duper fun. Stroll with 24, that has to be his most points of the season. Let's double check before it looks like I'm talking out my butt. 25 points at Miami, although that was a sprint. So, but now he's had 16 points at Australia, wet race, 25 points at Miami, wet weekend, and now he's got 24 points at Britain. Okay. Lance Stroll is cooking in the rain. Michael says, go to Alpine to finish the season, then go to Cadillac for 26. There you go, Michael. I kind of like that. Overall, looks like Gasly, Stroll good to bring in, with Hadjar, Bortoleto, Colapinto being slightly radioactive, setting aside Verstappen, Leclerc, Sainz, Antonelli, etc., who also aren't good to bring in. Also, I want to give a shout out to my little brother. Let's see, do I still have it here? 2025 bold predictions. I put this out in the beginning of the year, and I was like, none of the audience members gave me a Kick Sauber bold prediction. So this is where we're at. So these are my bold predictions. Both drivers score points. Bingo bango. Bortoleto outscores Hadjar and Doohan. Probably not going to work out. Kick Sauber outscores Aston in the second half of the season. That's okay. The new guy, classic little brother not knowing the proper names, outscores Hulk in fantasy. That's probably not going to happen. But Sauber are at least the 7th best constructor to use in F1 fantasy. Not a bad shout by him at all. Because where are they at right now? They are 7th. But they should be shooting up there pretty soon. Like V-Carb is going to go down. Haas, yeah, so we're getting there. He's cooking. He cooked a little bit there with that prediction. So great job by you, little bro. Nicholas, Bottas deserves better than Alpine. They're a mess from management to car, and a Mercedes power unit isn't magically going to fix it. Yeah, fair enough. Connor, do you expect a 4A line to score significantly better than Piastri, McLaren, Ferrari with the best budget drivers? It honestly could be like a week-to-week thing. Like, I mean, Russell should get the job done most weeks, but with Ferrari getting in the picture, this weekend is going to be such an anomaly. Like, the weather was so bad this weekend. It's really tough to say. I think 4A managers can probably count themselves a little unlucky, and us managers that have been trying to catch up to them in budget over the last few weeks are trending upwards because they've had this opportunity to go for a 4A budget for 1 or 2 races now, and it just hasn't really worked out with Mercedes melting, Antonelli another DNF, Ferrari just kind of hanging in there a little bit. So I'm assuming the budget will begin to stretch its legs eventually, but they do need Mercedes to kind of get back on track here a little bit. MD says Ryan Reynolds owns a little Alpine, right? Yeah, so does like Rory McIlroy, Patrick Mahomes. It's kind of like a whole sports celebrity conglomerate. Alpine should go after Alonso Piastri. Yes. Piastri begging for team orders at the end makes his image kind of whiny. I mean, why should Norris give the position for his mistake? I think that was maybe a little bit of a miscommunication on McLaren's end. It kind of felt like Piastri thought that the penalty was because of something that him and Norris did. So I'm not entirely sure. Reckless Medic said, I've been tracking a potential 4A tier build with Mercedes, McLaren, Piastri, Russell, and the triple McLaren builds are averaging 50 points per race more. I might just give up on the 4A tier build plan. Wow. Great work by you, Reckless Medic. Really appreciate that. Wait, Piastri outscored Norris? Sure did. I feel like Piastri needs a win at Spa badly. Sir Lancelot may be slow, however, he is consistent. MD says, solid work, little bro. Yes. Hussein, bro, I had Piastri, Hulk, Bortoleto, Alonso, Colapinto with McLaren, Ferrari. Not bad, I guess. Not awful. Bortoleto and Colapinto might hurt. MD, fun fact, it's raining today and the next 3 days at Spa. I'm bringing my poncho. I'm already got the poncho packed. Oz, when this season ends, what happens to budget to next year's fantasy? Like start with 100 million with all A tier 25 mil? Great question, Oz. But yeah, it will be back to 100 million, I am assuming. But whew, that was a very quick and very fun 57 minutes. I'm going to double check this one more time. Still provisional points. It was because McLaren told him the penalty was unfair. So he said, well, if it's unfair, then maybe we should switch positions. Okay. Thank you for clarifying that, Michael. Greatly appreciate it. But I greatly appreciate all of y'all for checking in on a Sunday night. Let's see. Top one had 3 DNFs today. I mean, talk about bad luck. That is rough. Hussein, but I am first in my league since the second had 4 DNFs. Oof. Kevin, oops, actually have 305 points. Brought to 2x Norris previously. Hulkenberg, Piastri, Norris, Behrman, Alonso, McLaren, and Aston Martin. 122.9 budget. Let's go. If anyone wants to watch a classic Spa Grand Prix 2021, it was fantastic. Okay, but yes, I'm going to get out of here, guys, because it's Sunday night, 9:30. It's a school night for me. So I will send out a tweet probably tomorrow morning, maybe tonight, if the scores get finalized. But yeah, with the scores finalized and the rank jump, hopefully rank jump. But yeah, it's been great. Thank you everyone for tuning in. If you are watching on replay or listening on replay, 5 stars on the podcast side, give a like. We're going towards 3,500 subscribers on the YouTube channel by summer break. So hopefully you guys can help me out there. And yeah, it's a bit of a break here, but the content will come out in drips and drabs over the next few weeks. And if you just want me to keep talking F1 Fantasy, you can follow me on X at F1 Fantasy Ewan. But really appreciate everyone coming out. I will post my final scores on my X account, and I'll have team selection out in the next couple of days. But once again, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you next time.